Hi, I'm CJ, and this is Disney Planning Guide. I'm here with my good friend Beth of Beth's Disney Adventures, and
Hello.
together we are going to bring you everything that we know about all of the COVID changes at Walt Disney World since the reopening and some of the ones that are coming up that are planned for the future. So let's get started. I've got a bunch of notes here, and Beth is going to chime in because she has been going to the parks every week since they reopened back in July, so she knows it inside and out. Ready? All right. So we're going to start with some highlights here, just glossing over some stuff, and then we'll get into some details as we go along. So number one thing, first of all, not number one, but the first thing I'm going to talk about is the limited park hours. All four parks have very limited hours right now. They're not the long hours that anybody is used to. Everything is closing early. There are no nighttime spectaculars. It's just get in, walk around, do your thing, and then before dinner time, they're hustling you out the door. Is that right?
Right. I think Epcot is open the latest, and that's only till 7. Now, they came out with today, which you do know, the kind of spur of the moment weekend where they're adding 1 or 2 hours they're tacking on to the end of the day. So I suspect that their capacity is starting to slowly inch up, and therefore they're trying to see if it's worth it to maybe extend the hours again. So they're probably going to try this weekend as kind of like a beta test to see if they can basically afford. You think about the fact that they're having to make payroll and everything. Can they afford to stay open later, and will people spend money in parks and stay later? So it'll be interesting to see what this weekend will bring. But yes, as of right now, they are closing at 6 and 7 o'clock. So it's not what we're used to.
I'm going to ask you this because it just popped into my head, and this is something we'll cover very shortly. The park reservations, because they have expanded the hours this coming weekend for all four parks, right? Is it all four parks this weekend?
All four parks, yeah.
They also released more availability in the parks reservation system.
No, I don't.
I haven't seen anything.
Whatever capacity they had planned on being at, they're at. So whatever is out there is out there. Most of the weekends are full when you look at the calendar for the AP calendar. So you can tell that obviously more locals are coming in on weekends and everything. So it's looking like they're probably keeping the capacity at whatever they put out just recently. But you never know. I mean, they can add to those calendars at any point in time, and we would never know it. It's just a matter of if you happen to be looking at that calendar and trying to get a park reservation, something might pop up. So, I think it's I think this is just going to be a test. This is going to be a test to see how much money they're going to make with those little extended hours for this one weekend, and then make a decision then as to maybe they were a little presumptuous at cutting them back, and crossing fingers, hopefully they will start extending them again as they see more people being in parks and spending money in parks and so on and so forth. So here's hoping.
Here is hoping. With that in mind, I'm going to move on to the next point. There is reduced capacity everywhere, but it is gradually starting to fill up. The hotels, the parks, the buses, the Skyliner, the monorails, the boats, the restaurants, and the pools, and everything is reduced capacity. And we don't know what that percentage is because Disney is very tight-lipped about what their max capacity is. So we don't know what any fraction of that would be, but it is gradually filling up more and more.
Right. It's certainly nowhere near what they're used to at this point in time. You can definitely tell. I mean, max capacity in Magic Kingdom was basically sitting at 100K. And then they recently, over the past 2 years, have pushed it down to 90. So if you're looking at 100% capacity, so like Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, that kind of thing, you're looking at a 90,000 people in Magic Kingdom. So if they are talking about being at a 20 or 25% right now, you can do the math, and that's what it is when they're at capacity as to what they are now. So, people are saying they're starting to see a lot. It's feeling a little more crowded. That's most likely a weekend, like again, because locals are coming in on weekends, and I think that it really depends on the time of day. I notice when I'm in parks, especially in Magic Kingdom, that Main Street feels like a ghost town after 10, 11 o'clock. And that's because everybody's kind of spread out in the park. And yet the last 2 hours, it feels crowded. So I think it's just the amount of people and how they shift around. It doesn't necessarily mean that their capacity is being raised. It's just a feel people get sometimes where they're like, wow, this feels like a lot of people. But it's truly just the masses and how they move. I think if they have raised the capacity, it's been very slow and it's been very inching. I don't think it's anything major right now. I think it's still very low.
And today being the first day of fall, we've got the snowbirds to start looking forward to.
Right. I wonder how that's all going to work. Florida's numbers are looking pretty good right now, knock on wood. So the snowbirds might be on their usual schedule at coming down. But I wonder if some of them maybe are hesitating and thinking they might stick it out in their own state. So it really is interesting. That would be interesting to find out from a lot of the B&Bs and a lot of the campsites and all that kind of stuff as to whether their numbers are lower. And, are the snowbirds going to come in mass as they normally do, or will some of them decide to stay in their home state? So, that will be interesting. But they're going to be fighting the same, war we're fighting as an AP with trying to get park reservations. So if anything, it's going to make it slightly harder for us locals when and if the snowbirds do get here. So it's going to be interesting.
Hopefully they'll allow some more park capacity to open up as the crowds come back
right
to move with demand.
Right. The idea that Disney has is that as things get better, they will slowly bring the capacity up little by little. So yes, if the snowbirds come down in October or November, by then they're hoping that their capacity might be at 40% or something like that. So it's all a guessing game. Nobody knows the future and what it holds, and we're about to get into flu season and everything. So there's a lot of concerns, and I think Disney is just taking it one tiny baby step at a time, and they're not trying to throw out any possibilities because they just don't know. So they rather just, mum's the word and wait and watch.
I like it. Better safe than sorry. A little bit at a time. Right. Don't want to get overextended. Also, in the parks, no character meet and greets. Instead, they are doing what is called cavalcades. If anybody's been there during a rainy day, you know what a cavalcade is. And these are very similar to that, where we've got characters. And now the characters are dressed seasonally. And there are occasionally, at certain times in Magic Kingdom, there are special villain cavalcades. And those cavalcades go out of their way to try and interact. If you want to take some selfies, and they will try to make the best picture that they possibly can if they can spot you. And they try to interact with everybody. But you have seen some other things in addition to the cavalcades as well. Is that right?
Right. And it didn't start off at the beginning. So when they reopened in July, we were all like waiting to see how bad this was going to be. To not have meet and greets and everything. We were really just kind of like walking in with this whole, is that some of the magic's going to be gone. You won't be able to see Mickey. You won't be able to, and they were talking about the cavalcades, but it was like, that's it. That's all we're getting. But I have noticed just over the past few weeks, they are adding more. We've got the Country Bears above Country Bear Jamboree. They are out pretty much all day. They take turns being out there. You can usually find 2 out there any time of the day. And they do wonderful selfies because they're up high, so you can take a picture really easily. Mm-hmm. And then today at Magic Kingdom, we saw Pooh, Tigger, and Eeyore on the porch of the Crystal Palace. So as you know, Crystal Palace, being a character dining, is not open right now, but they were on the porch, which was a perfect distance for them, and yet great selfies. That, like you were saying about how the characters are being really good at trying to get the best picture for you. They stay still. They wave, they point, they make kids feel special. So Disney is slowly incorporating more and more. I saw Peter Pan out on that same porch at a different time, and he was talking to people. So you've got Jack, Captain Jack Sparrow, on the stage across from Pirates of the Caribbean. So more and more characters are coming out in unexpected places where you can take pictures. Pooh Bear and Joy take turns at Epcot outside of World of Imagination on the grass. Pooh Bear's got his little butterfly catching net, and wonderful pictures. So Disney is understanding the idea that, wait a minute, we can put characters in other places to where they're a safe distance, and yet people can still get that magic and that interaction. So hi, Julia. Hi, Darla. I see they're all. So yeah, Disney's starting to really come up with creative ways. So the cavalcades are amazing. And right now we have 2 new Halloween cavalcades. One is Sally, Jack, and Oogie Boogie, and they're playing that music. And then of course my favorite is the Boo to You cavalcade, which brings a smile to your face, and you start singing as soon as you hear the music. I mean, that's like an awesome earworm to go the rest of the day, with that. But yes, Disney is really starting to understand that they need to get the characters out there in a safe way, and they are coming up with some amazing ideas into how to do it. So it's getting better every day.
That's so cool. I love that. They're doing their best, and they're learning and innovating and evolving.
That's it.
So also, anybody that's worried, I see a lot of this in the groups. I see lots of pictures and comments and questions about people that are concerned. So I want to tell everybody about the enhanced cleaning and sanitizing, not only at the parks, but also in the buses, in the Skyliners, in all of the monorails, in the restaurants, in your hotel rooms, and all of the high traffic and high touch areas like restrooms, doorknobs, handrails, and all of that sort of stuff. I know I was there in March about a week before they closed. And even then, they were already doing enhanced cleaning. They ended up having to close, but before they did, they were already doing all sorts of things to make sure everybody was safe. I saw back in March the hand washing stations and the hand sanitizer dispensers throughout Magic Kingdom. And they have stepped it up even more since they reopened, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. We've always joked about Disney and their trash cans, that there's a trash can, every 20 feet or something like that. The hand sanitizers are exactly the same. They are everywhere. And they've gotten really smart about it being right before you get on a ride and right after you get off. So the idea is that if everybody gets a little squirt, rubs their hands before they get on the ride, then when they get off, they do the same thing. Theoretically, there should be less germs on the touch points. But all of the rides go through cleaning depends on the ride, but every hour, every 2 hours, whatever it is. So they spray everything down that's high touch point. The hotels have been amazing. When you check into your hotel and go to your room, you'll notice that the remotes are wrapped in plastic, so you know that it's been cleaned. The mousekeeping does not come every day, which I have never heard a complaint about that. Most people are totally fine with that. So many people put out the do not disturb sign because they don't want housekeeping coming in every day. So it's perfect. They come every other day for a regular hotel room. And of course, DVC has their own rules as to when they come. But serious cleaning. Disney does not want to be in the news, not with someone getting sick and, some kind of epidemic going on within Disney. They do not. So they are going to go way beyond to make sure that doesn't happen. And that's why, whether you're in a park or you're at Disney Springs or you're at a resort, Disney is cleaning way beyond what's expected by the CDC.
And I've been seeing about once a week, I'll see something in the Orlando local news stating that they are keeping an eye on everything. And as of whatever day that news release is released, that there have been no cases traced directly back to Walt Disney World.
That's right. And that's exactly what Disney wants, which is why they're going to go way above what is suggested. Yep.
Wonderful. Also, back to the hotels, in addition to all of the extra cleaning that they're doing on everything, they have enhanced the contactless check-in. They want you to use My Disney Experience.
Right.
And they want you to check in using your app. And we're going to talk about that as it pertains to restaurants later on. But they're really wanting people to use their My Disney Experience app instead of going to the front desk to check in, because they just don't want a crowd of people hanging around for extended periods of time.
Right. I think Disney was so smart in this. I was doing that way before that.
It's super handy. I love it.
Yeah. As a DVC member, that was offered like years ago. And so I would always check in ahead of time. Understandably, regular resort people are going up because sometimes they're picking up their magic bands because, maybe they didn't get their magic bands mailed to them. They were there waiting for them. But I think that Disney really thought, how do we keep crowds out of the lobby, out of check-in? And so they decided, what we do for DVC, let's do for the rest of the resort people. Let's make it to where they can just go straight to their room. I've always gotten a text that says your room is ready. This is your number. Here's a map, on how to get there. I mean, they do everything they can to where you don't have to go up to the front and stand in a line and, so it's super smart, and they're thinking of that way in so many ways, like you said, with dining, which we'll talk about later. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Harkening back to the limited park hours, right now there are no nighttime spectaculars in any of the parks. However, we have good news today that Epcot will be testing fireworks tomorrow night after the park closes, and that should wrap up about midnight, in case anybody's wondering when they can go to bed over there by the Epcot area resorts. It'll be about midnight. So testing the fireworks, that's a great sign. I am super excited about that.
Right. If there was one park that was going to start with some kind of nighttime thing, it's going to be Epcot. Number one, they have Epcot opening later. They have Epcot closing later. And they have the space, whereas Magic Kingdom does not. We're living in a COVID world right now, and to have everybody at what limited capacity there is for Epcot, and then, have them spread out around World Showcase Lake is super smart. So, hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
So yeah, I think it's smart that it's Epcot. Plus, Epcot is the least crowded right now. It is not the most popular park. The times that I have gone, it's been a ghost town. It's been empty. So I realize it's a bigger area. And so, you think, oh, these people are all spread out. But honestly, I can always get a park res at Epcot most days. And that tells me people aren't going. They are getting into Hollywood, and Magic Kingdom obviously are big draws. Animal Kingdom is a big draw because of Flight of Passage. So Epcot really needs this. I think more people will come in the evenings and pick Epcot as a park reservation if they bring some kind of nighttime fireworks back. So I am super stoked at this. This is awesome news.
I am too, especially with the news of all of the construction progress that they're making up front. It's going to be much better. It already is much better. And it's going to get even better really soon.
Yeah. Let's hope that they really get that Future World into some kind of shape before the 50th anniversary. For sure. They need to.
Fingers crossed that they take advantage of the low crowds over there and focus everything and getting that straightened out.
And more food and wine booths are opening. So yes, hopefully the draw, especially in the evening, will really start happening and people will choose Epcot more.
And the a Taste of Epcot Food and Wine opened when Epcot did back in July, and that is still running. And you have had some of those foods, right?
I have.
How do they stack up to regular food and wine?
Wonderful. I mean, I don't feel like they skimped at all. They were planning on opening a certain amount of kiosks right away. And then they had other kiosks that started popping up saying coming this fall. And some of those are starting to open now. So I think that some of the most favorites that everybody's been waiting for are coming at a time when food and wine would be happening. Whereas before we were getting it in July and it felt kind of crazy to have food and wine then, but it's starting to grow and grow. So again, I think more people are going to start deciding to come to Epcot. And then with the news of the possibility of a nighttime show, I think people are going to clamor there. But no, the food is excellent. It's never disappointing when it comes to festivals, especially. And we see some returning favorites on the menu, and then we see some new stuff. So it's been great.
Wonderful. I've seen in the groups a lot the past couple of days. Flavors from Fire.
Yes.
Just reopened.
Which you and I love.
That's one of our favorites.
That slider again. I cannot wait. Yes. So it's gonna be wonderful.
Outstanding. Also keeping people safe, we've got temp checks. And those are at the entrances to all 4 parks. Is that right?
As well as Disney Springs. Yes.
As well as Disney Springs. Very good.
Right.
Are there any additional temp check areas, like at specific restaurants or anything like that you've seen?
I haven't seen any restaurants doing temp checks. I was at the Contemporary today, and they were doing a temp check right before the monorail, which makes sense. That's the security right there. So obviously the temp checks are happening at all of the resorts on the monorail line also.
Wonderful.
You're then getting on the monorail to possibly go into a park. So they want to go ahead and get that out of the way. But no, I have not seen any restaurants doing that. No.
I heard in the very beginning
capacity and so forth. But as far as temp checks go, Disney Springs and the 4 parks.
Wonderful, wonderful. I had heard in the very, very beginning that Brown Derby was doing their own temp checks, but I only saw it once or twice, and then I never saw it again. So,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I will actually know the answer to that on Monday. I have family going to the Brown Derby on Monday, so I'll have to find out if they did a temp check. But yeah, no. As far as I know, it's been mostly Disney parks and Disney Springs.
Wonderful. Also, we've got social distancing markers and barriers in place, not only in high concentration areas, but along the streets for the cavalcades as well, and other key areas where people might get bunched up, right?
Right. Most people are really good about trying to do the 6 feet thing, even if there isn't a marker on the ground. Obviously, small children kind of still run up and don't think about it. I noticed the biggest problem is people being on their phones while they're standing in line, and then they don't pay attention. And the next thing you know, they're kind of in the herding, just moving forward automatic thing. But most of the time when they start realizing they're like right behind somebody, they'll step back. And so everybody's really getting used to looking down and finding their marker or their dot, like, down Main Street, So I think the physical markers really help. I think they help people realize, oh, I need to stand over here. So people are, as the longer Disney's open, the more people are getting trained. We're getting trained. Come on, let's just let's just go ahead and say it.
Just getting used to the new normal. That's all it is. We'll get there. And there's also in queues that zigzag back and forth, there are plexiglass barriers.
Right.
Between the lines.
So where they saw that they really needed to utilize the entire queue line, and knowing that people might be right next to each other if they do the whole 6 feet thing, that they had to come up with something to where at least they weren't sharing the same air so close, that there was some kind of barrier. And it makes people feel better. And it's slightly claustrophobic because sometimes there's like a solid barrier and then plexiglass, but I don't think anybody really has a problem with it. And it was super smart. That way they could fit more people in and yet still keep people safe. So it's been great.
Some of them are clear and some of them are not clear. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, some of them have like a solid at the bottom, and then they do plexiglass at the top. So I don't know if it was easier to attach. So all of these barriers are basically attached in some shape or form to the regular bars on the queue line. So you can tell it's all temporary. It's all up there for as long as they need it. So it was something to where they could fix it for the time being, and nothing was permanent. So I think that's why maybe they went with solid on some and plexiglass all the way up on others. I think it's whatever they had or what they could get their hands on. So, but it works. It works.
It does work. It works. They're also putting barriers. They're splitting the monorails. One monorail car has 2 compartments. They're doing, is it one party per half? And there's a barrier in between, or is it one party per bench?
One party per bench. And you have 2 areas of the cabin, obviously. And that's where there's kind of like a leather, I don't know what you would call it, almost like a wall of fabric or leather that is basically just held down and extended at 4 points. So it gives you a barrier for the people who are sitting back to back. So otherwise, you're pretty much 6 feet apart. There's nobody, you can't stand in the middle anymore. So it's one party per bench. So when I go by myself, I get a whole bench to myself. Sometimes a whole section of myself. So it's when you go to the monorail now, they will give you a number which you stand on, and it's basically 1 or 2. And what they do is they fill all the front numbers, and then if they still have people, they'll fill the back numbers. So when they're not busy, I sometimes get a whole compartment to myself, and when they are busy, I'll have someone sitting across from me. It's not bad at all. It's not bad.
They're also doing plexiglass barriers inside the buses. Are they doing them inside the boats as well?
Well, the boats are, especially the big open air boats, the smaller ones, they're just seating a lot less. Okay. So there's like a good 2 rows back before they seat someone else. The ferry boat, they've just limited capacity, and everybody has a dot to stand on. So they're spreading people out who want to sit or stand or whatever. I haven't seen plexiglass or plastic on the boats necessarily. Of course, I haven't ridden all the boats, so not sure, but they are definitely minimizing to where you're not near anybody as you sit on a boat.
Outstanding. So they are gradually opening things, but many things around the parks are not open in the parks, especially at Hollywood Studios, right? Like we still have the Equity cast members who are not back yet. Is that right? And so all of the shows, most of the shows are not going on at Hollywood Studios.
Right. Hollywood is feeling the most from this whole not having Equity for the most part back. They're slowly coming back though. We got our Dapper Dans that are back at Magic. I did not see them today, but I heard they are back. But they're the Cadaver bands right now.
Cadaver Dance.
Yeah, Cadaver Dance. So they're in Frontierland up above. And then as far as Hollywood goes, we're about to get our Ken bays back into Sabi's. So Sabi's workshop is turning back into what they did before, where you can build a lightsaber and you will have your equity in there as Ken bays, talking about the Force and giving you that wonderful performance that you expect from Sabi's when you build a lightsaber. So as far as shows go, they have the Disney Channel dance show that's back there near Launch Bay that's going on right now, but it does not have equity. And then, of course, we have the symphony, the 6 or 8 piece, so it's not huge like last summer, but at the Beauty and the Beast amphitheater, and they are doing Beauty and the Beast music, and then some of the characters come out. So those are the only 2 shows that are happening right now. And the downfall for Hollywood Studios is because none of the shows are going. The Indiana Jones stunt show, the Beauty and the Beast, Frozen
sing along. Oh, right. That's our favorite.
Because they're not going, think about it. Indiana Jones, that holds at least 1,000 people, for every show. And Beauty and the Beast, same. I mean, they hold a lot of people. So none of those people are sitting in those shows, which means they're standing in lines. And that's why at Hollywood, everybody's shocked when they know that the capacity is low for the park, and yet the wait times are like crazy. Mm-hmm. And that's because we don't have the shows back.
That's especially true for Hollywood Studios. Just in the past 5 to 7 days, it has just, the wait times on my Disney experience have just gone through the roof, and everybody's like, what in the world is going on? It's like, well, the reservation system is maxed out.
Right. Hollywood is known for their shows. They've got 10 or 11 rides, but then they have the shows. And so with no shows, everybody is in a line. I'm really hoping that maybe Frozen Sing-Along or Indiana Jones will come back first, because those are where you can keep your performers far enough away, and thankfully Disney came to the conclusion that they would test all of their equity to keep them safe. So let's hope that they feel that it's worth it to bring them back slowly. I'm hoping we'll see more at Hollywood Studios.
Speaking of testing, in the agreement with Equity, Disney agreed to have a testing facility fired up on property, and that is available not only to cast members, but to the public as well, including guests. And there is a special line for cast members and their family, but anybody can go there. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct. I actually know where that is, just off of 192. So I've seen the signs for it, and yes, it's open to the public. But I'm hoping that Disney will start bringing in enough of a profit to bring more equity back now that equity feels safer coming back.
Aside from the shows, are there any other things, aside from things that have live performers in them, are there any attractions, rides, etc., that are currently not operating?
Yes, Laugh Floor, which is in Tomorrowland, that has equity doing the voices in Laugh Floor. So, I mean, there are some behind the scenes people you don't think about that are equity. The Jack Sparrow that I saw today, he was not equity. They normally have an equity person doing Jack. So, so those kind of things. People, characters that are going to interact in a way that they can interact with the public, not in a repetitious way, but being able to ad lib and so forth. Those are equity. Okay. It makes them so amazing and talented. So yes, people don't think about Laugh Floor and things like that. Up, a bird adventure, even though that's going on right now, they tweaked it because they normally have an equity performer in there. And so he's not there right now. So they're having to tweak things. So by bringing equity back, we're going to get more shows and things like that. So it's not just about like Citizens of Hollywood and Main Street citizens interacting on the street. It's different things that you don't think about. So hopefully we're going to see that soon.
Wonderful, wonderful. And aside from the attractions that have people interacting with guests, there aren't any rides or other things that are not open, right? That are just closed just for lack of staffing or anything like that. Everything else is up and running, right? Country Bears is up, Tiki Room is up, the Tomorrowland Speedway, all the regular stuff is up.
Right. The only ride that honestly isn't going is People Mover.
Isn't that terrible?
And I feel like that accident that they had before closure really made them start thinking that they need to take care of it, and so they are replacing the track. It's taking a while to get the parts, so it's down longer than we thought, but there is no worries as far as everything I've read and heard from Disney. There's no worries. We are going to have our People Mover back, and it will be smooth and well ran and new track. So I'm not worried in the least. We're just going to have to wait a little bit longer.
The last I heard was November the 28th. It was the 21st, but now it's the 28th.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Very good. Other things that are different with the shows over in Epcot. Around World Showcase, there are typically performers in every country, but that's not happening right now. However, there is a silver lining at the American Gardens Theater. There are acts throughout the day from, we've got the Janitors, right? And Mariachi Cobre. Are there any others besides those two?
No, those are the only two. What's really nice is they go back and forth. So it's not like in the early part of the day it's one and in the evening it's the other. You could truly be there just for a few hours and be able to catch both of them. So they take. So it's like 1:45 is Janitors, 2:15 is Mariachi. So they take turns back and forth, which is awesome. So glad to see some performers back. Obviously the capacity is different. They spread everybody out, but it's an absolutely refreshing to see something like that still happening at Epcot.
And both of those groups are just amazing. If you guys haven't seen them, highly recommend, must do, put it on the list.
Yes. It's a great time to take a break.
Yes, it's a great way to sit down. You can't take your mask off there, right?
Can't take your mask off, but it is a good halfway point to just sit down and relax and get in the shade. You know how Epcot is. There's not much shade, so take it while you can. And it's a nice little break. Listen to some music, enjoy, and it's great.
We will touch on masks again in just a few minutes. Also, a lot of people, I've seen this in a lot of groups, people are asking about the PhotoPass photographers. They are out there, but they will not take pictures with your phone or your camera, right? And they also will not take your picture if you take your mask off. You have to wear your mask in your PhotoPass pictures. You have to wear your mask in your ride photo pictures. We'll talk about that a little later. And they will not touch your camera, but they will still take your picture, and they will do all kinds of great stuff. I've seen lots of PhotoPass people posting their PhotoPass pictures in recent trips, and they are just phenomenal. Those photographers are really going the extra mile to make it special right now.
Right. Well, Disney was super smart when they started making their masks. You can get super adorable masks that make you look like Mickey Smile or Goofy Smile, and they make the best PhotoPass pictures. My funniest thing about PhotoPass is you have your mask on, you stand in line like you always do, you get your PhotoPass, and you smile behind your mask. It's so funny. People just, you don't realize it, but you're still smiling for the picture, even though you have a mask on. PhotoPass people were not out in droves in the beginning. There was very few of them. But as capacity has risen and as I guess Disney started to realize people still want to get photo passes,
Oh,
they
yeah.
put more and more photo pass people out. And it's been wonderful. I think everybody really calmed down about the whole they're not going to take a picture with your phone. That was wonderful when they could do it. But it's not forever. I don't foresee that being forever. I think eventually we're going to go back to that. But it really hasn't been a problem. I've seen plenty of people, they've just learned to take selfies themselves and they still stand in line for photo pass. And it's been great.
That's great. And back to the character cavalcades, they are always happy to jump into your selfie, and selfies are highly encouraged all over the place. And you just can't do it with the photo pass.
Right. And speaking of photo pass, there's been a lot more magic pictures being offered, especially for the fall holidays. So Disney is starting to wise up at the fact that if you can't get your meet and greet pictures, they can at least digitally put in some fun things that maybe you could have only gotten at a party, at a hard ticket event. So they're offering all of that with your regular pass and your regular ticket. So when you see all these photo pass people out, always ask them, do they do a magic picture? And most of them will say yes. They'll have something, whether it's Baby Yoda or it's Minnie sitting next to you on a bench or it's Tinkerbell flying above. I mean, there's plenty of those out there, especially right now. So it really does make it a little bit better.
And not all PhotoPass photographers have the same magic shots. You can go to different places and get different magic shots. So it always, never forget to ask. Always ask. They will take all the time. So do not worry about being in a hurry. They love doing it. Awesome. PhotoPass. Parks reservation system. Super important. A lot of questions about that in a lot of the Facebook groups I'm seeing about how do I do it? What do I need to do? I can't get in. What am I doing wrong? All that kind of stuff. So parks reservation system is through the Disney website, and you must have, even if you have an annual pass, even if you have a hotel reservation, even if you have a ticket, either single or multi-day, you must make a park reservation to go to a park on a particular day before they will let you in. Right? So, right. And right now they are giving priority to resort guests, right? That's
Disney resort guests, yes. And then the next priority is people who have purchased Disney tickets.
Right.
They pretty much are at the front of the line, both of those people. There are times where I am not only an AP, but I am a resort guest. And I'm excited whenever I am because I know that I'm probably going to get whatever park reservations I have. When it's just me as an AP coming down for 2 days, that's when I'm crossing my fingers and toes and like, oh, you know, I hope it's available. So they're getting better. Disney is really trying to move over whenever they realize that there's plenty of resort guests opening still that aren't being used. They try and shift them over to the AP calendar and give those to APs. But you never know when it's going to happen. You never know. So APs are pretty much playing the game of checking their calendar often and waiting to see what days go green. And so the way that the park system works is you go in and you pull up whichever calendar pertains to you, and you will basically see green, yellow, or red on certain days. Green means they're available for all 4 parks. Yellow means there's at least 1 park that's already full. Possibly 2. And then of course, red is when all 4 parks have all of their park reservations are gone. So we're all very aware of that calendar as annual pass holders, but as people who are planning their vacations who haven't come since they've reopened, you really need to get your park reservations as soon as you get your tickets. That needs to happen right away. And the good thing about it is it doesn't matter how far out your room or your vacation is. This isn't like Disney dining where you have to wait 60 days. We're at 60 days now on that. I'm sure we'll get to that in a minute. But for right now, you can get your park reservations way in advance as long as it's your days that you're here on vacation and you have a ticket. So I highly suggest anybody who's coming to visit to get your park reservations right away. The farther out, the more likely everything's going to be green.
And I believe this weekend, I saw something about, I think for this weekend, I think all 4 parks are full.
Yeah, not surprising. Like I said, weekends are when all of the locals are out snatching up whatever they can on that AP calendar. So weekends have been full for the past month and a half. There's been plenty of yellow or red weekends to where, yeah, there's nothing. And that's when we start watching the calendar to see if Disney's going to shift any over. And you just have to be at the right place at the right time, so to speak, to catch it.
And just like ADRs and fast passes, it never hurts to keep checking because something could always open up.
Absolutely. There might be somebody who cancels their vacation or an AP decides not to come that day. You never know when somebody's going to drop their park reservation and you can snatch it up. So yeah, it's totally become a game of just checking and waiting and checking and waiting. So yeah, but Disney says they're getting better. Disney says they're really trying to use their algorithms and so forth and really start paying attention to when there is park reservations sitting unused with ticket holders or resort guests that they could give to the AP. So they're really starting to try harder. I think they're starting to listen to our cries.
That's wonderful because APs, I mean, that's a huge investment as well as DVC, which
right.
you are.
Right. Yep. I'm both.
Yeah. Now with the parks reservation system, once you have your reservation and your ticket linked to your My Disney Experience account, you can make a park reservation for every day of either your hotel stay or your ticket once you have it. And
right.
Annual pass holders can reserve up to 3 days at a time without a hotel reservation.
Right. Absolutely. And you can keep 3 days on the books constantly. So I have 3 days booked for this week right now. As soon as I just finished Magic Kingdom today, tonight or tomorrow morning, I can go on and book a third again. So you can have 3 constantly. You don't have to use all 3 before you can grab another reservation. As soon as you use one of the 3, you can get another.
So if tonight you have 3 and you tap in tomorrow, as soon as you tap into a park, you can make another one.
Well, I basically used today's. So that was my first reservation of the week.
Gotcha.
So most likely tonight or tomorrow morning, I'll be able to make another AP reservation. Mm-hmm. I used mine for today. So tonight or tomorrow morning, I can fill that with another date or another day. So yeah, so you can constantly keep 3.
Wonderful. And right now there is no park hopping. When you make a park reservation for a day, it is for one park and one park only, but you can go and come back to the same park as many times as you want to on that day.
Right. I don't think that's happening a lot because the park hours are so much shorter, but there are times where I found myself leaving and going to a resort to meet somebody or to have lunch, and then I come back, especially at like Epcot where it was staying open later, back a month ago. Yeah, you can come in and out as much as you want, but you do have to stay in one park. I know a lot of people were upset about that when they first heard it, but it makes sense.
It does, especially with the short hours. You don't have time to park hop.
Right. Well, yeah. Number 1, yeah, exactly. You don't have time because the hours are shorter. And 2, they're trying to keep track of their capacity. And so they need to know how many people are coming into their park. And so, yeah, it makes sense. It really does. It's just a matter of, I tell people, I'm like, look, this is your chance to go see some things or ride some things that you would normally bypass because you're going to park hop and you've got to leave. Now you get to spend some quality time in a park that you might have glossed over a little bit. And I think people are going to realize that it's a good thing and that it's not so bad.
It's not bad. It's wonderful. That way you have time to sit down, cool your heels, take a breath, catch the Philharmonic as it goes marching by, play some Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom. I'll make a video about that eventually, one of these days. Beth did that on her stream today. Beth does some amazing streams and has some really incredible adventures. If you don't know about Beth, I highly recommend going and checking out her channel. Please go like and subscribe to Beth's Disney Adventures. Beth, you mentioned a few minutes ago about leaving the park to go meet somebody to eat at a resort. According to the official Disney website, it states that resort hopping is not currently allowed, but that's not entirely accurate. What they mean by that is resort hopping with your own car, right?
Right. That's exactly right. They don't want people basically rolling into their parking lots and, just because they want to look around and so forth. They're trying to minimize the amount of people that are in their resorts. They're trying to keep it low for their guests and who are at those resorts. So it makes sense. Basically, if you want to drive to a resort, you have to have a reservation at one of their sit-down restaurants. They will look up the name that you give and be able to tap into the reservation system for those restaurants. So that is the way that you can park at a resort. I have a tendency to go there for certain quick services, or there might be a bar that I like there, in which case I utilize the Disney transportation system. I pick up a bus to whatever park, whatever, whatever resort, and I go there and then I come back. The biggest thing about going from one resort to another that everybody needs to pay attention to is because the parks close a lot sooner, there's a lot less chance of you being able to get to a park to get to your resort. Most people use the parks as a way of transferring and then getting to another resort. Remember, there's less buses running, less people on the buses. Even Disney Springs is only open till 10 p.m. So if you have a later reservation at a different resort, you need to have the backup of using Uber or Lyft to get back to your other Disney resort, because you may not be able to utilize the buses or the Skyliner or boats or whatever. So you really need to pay attention to your resort hopping, especially in the evenings.
And Uber and Lyft are running as normal, but the minivan program has been canceled and there are no more minivans. I am very sad to say.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a super cool experience to do a minivan. And I think once they changed their prices a little bit, it got more interesting as far as more people utilizing it. But yeah, as you know, the COVID life that we're living right now, they decided not to bring those back. So
the flat fee was a really good thing. People, when they're planning their Disney trip, they like to know everything, how much it's going to cost. And so if they have a minivan and they know it's going to cost $25 each way, no matter where they're going within Disney property, that's something that they can account for. But the variable of having the $25 flat fee plus the whatever time and mileage was just too much. It just added that uncertainty, and people don't like that.
Right. I think the flat fee is smart. I think it was too high. Mm-hmm. I think people who wanted to go from the Polynesian to Wilderness Lodge, which is right down the street, were thinking $25 for that. I could walk that, if I had to, So I think, whereas if you were going from Animal Kingdom all the way, to Disney Springs, that's a hike. That's worth it, you know? So I think the flat fee, like you said, is good for planning, but I think it was too high. So when they did go to more like an Uber or Lyft kind of mileage and how much, I think it worked a little bit better, but we don't have it anymore. So,
And I do like the Uber and Lyft. I have used them extensively, and I think they are a great value. They're a wonderful addition to the transportation network. Before the close down, oftentimes, if the bus lines were long, I'll just get an Uber and a Lyft. It is worth it because time is money. So,
right. And I think plenty of people who are used to doing that kind of thing don't think anything of it. Like you said, it's like, oh, I'll just get an Uber. But
Absolutely.
if someone is coming to Disney with these new restrictions in place and you've never used Uber or Lyft, go ahead and download it. Get familiar with it. It's super easy. You use your GPS on your phone, so it knows exactly where you are. Your driver will know exactly where you are to pick you up. They give you all the information as to what the driver's driving, what they look like, what their name is. So it's super convenient. So if you're not used to doing Uber or Lyft, you live in a place where you've never had to use it, do it ahead of time. Download the app of whichever one you want and just get to know the app so you won't be as hesitant to use it if you need it.
And if you don't have either one of those yet, if you've not created an Uber or Lyft account, ask your friends. They can give you a referral code. And when you use a referral code from a friend or a family member, both of you get discounts.
There you go.
So we've mentioned masks a few times. Let us dive in depth to the mask situation because it is not the same as it was when the parks opened back in July. Things have changed. Right. And I'm going to zip out of frame right over there for 3 seconds and grab a mask.
Okay.
Okay, that might have been 4 seconds, but whatever. I have here with me a Shop Disney mask.
There. Oh.
Oh, it's green.
It's green.
Here we go. That's a little bit better. This is the back side. This is a cotton poly blend 2-layer mask. It does not have a filter pocket, but it has pleats on it, and it's made out of like t-shirt material. You can get these on Shop Disney in various motifs. 4 masks for $20 plus shipping and handling. Quite a deal. This one has Baby Yoda on it, but you can't really.
You can see the well. Everything else is whatever your green screen is.
Wouldn't think about that. Anyway, masks. Masks are mandatory no matter what for everybody going into parks age 2 and over. No exceptions. I have seen a lot of people asking questions about people with sensory differences or other types of things. It doesn't matter if you have to have the mask on all the time with certain caveats there. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you have to have the mask on. If you cannot wear the mask all day long, with the exception of sitting down to eat or drink, don't go. Just don't go right now. You will not have fun. You won't be able to get in. And if you take your mask off, they will show you the door.
Right.
The rules for masks have changed. They used to be anything that just kind of, made a little barrier, but they have since for some reason they changed it, and it has to be a thing that either goes with ear loops or ties behind your head.
Right.
And it has to cover the chin and the nose and create almost like a seal, not like it has to
be fitted. It needs to be fitted over your nose and under your chin. Yes, it needs to be. Yeah, exactly. It needs to be 2 layers, and so no gaiters, no masks with vents. They've definitely learned as they went, and also the CDC bringing out more stuff kind of gets them more in line with that. So. There are at the temperature checks. and the security, they actually have vending machines for masks, like the paper, you know, surgical mask.
Oh, they sell
So
the big ones.
super cheap. They're only like $1, you know, and you can go to the vending machine and get yourself a mask if you end up showing up at security without a mask. So there definitely are low budget ways to get a mask. You don't have to buy Disney's. You don't have, I actually only have like 2 that are Disney. Otherwise, I bought mine off of other places. But yeah, there are definite restrictions that you need to know ahead of time.
There are a lot of really cute masks out there. Disney sells some cute ones. They just came out with the Halloween package. There are some really amazing masks on Etsy, but I tell you what, the easiest ones that I've found to breathe through that meet all the requirements are those paper ones, those cheapo Harbor Freight 50 for $1, whatever. That's not the real price, but they're cheap. Anyway, those are the ones that I have found, me personally, the easiest to breathe through, especially if you're outside and it's hot or it's stuffy or whatever.
Right.
They fit all of the criteria and they're very breathable. Now, the exception to the mask situation, there are 2 places or ways that you can remove your mask inside the parks, right? When you're sitting down to eat, and you have to sit down and park it when you're eating.
Whether sit or stand, you need to be stationary. They're no longer letting people walk and drink or walk and eat. They want you to step aside, take your mask off, drink, eat, whatever you need to do. So whether it's quick service and you're just you just got a hot dog and you want to keep moving, you cannot. You need to just go find some shade and sit or, lean against whatever and take off your mask and eat or drink and then put it right back on. And then go ahead. What's number 2?
Number 2 are the relaxation stations. And in Beth's Disney Adventures live stream, she has taken us to all of the relaxation stations and showed us the pros and cons of each one individually. Some have air conditioners, some don't. Some are inside, some are outside. Some have shade, some do not. So they are all unique, but they are at strategic locations throughout all 4 parks and very handy. And you can sit down without having to buy or eat or drink and just chill out, take your mask off. But you do have to park it at the relaxation stations as well, correct?
Right. And that was super smart by Disney, super smart. They knew that people were going to get hot and bothered and they were going to need time to be able to take those masks off, especially kids. Kids aren't used to all that, especially all day long outside. Uh-huh. So it's an excellent way. So I highly suggest that people find out where those relaxation stations are before you even walk into the park. Do your research so you know where they are, especially if you're coming with kids, because they are great places where you can cool off, take off your mask, maybe plan out the next part of your day, or just sit and chill and have a conversation for a little while without talking through fabric. So it is absolutely essential that people utilize those relaxation stations.
Outstanding. That's what they're for. Use them. Cashless payments. I've seen a lot of talk about this. I've seen people get really confused and ask a lot of questions about this. Disney is really encouraging people to use the cashless payment method. There are several ways you can do this. You can use a Disney gift card. If you're a resort guest, you can use your Disney Magic Band and charge it to your room as always. You can use your credit or debit card. And you can also use your phone. You can use Apple Pay or Google Pay. They are trying to reduce the amount of stuff changing hands from one person to another. And cash, as everybody knows, it's just Jeremy on the best day. Cash just There.
Well, and like you said, there's a lot of confusion. Not that they don't know what cashless payments are. Most people use them on a daily basis. But when you see signs at Disney at registers, it tends to make you think that they don't take cash. Well, they do. They will take your money. So if you only have cash, do not fear. You can pay with cash. It's just highly suggested by Disney. They're just basically, this is another training method that they're doing with us, to just try and get people to plan ahead before you come on vacation, before you come in a park. Buy a gift card at your gift shop or whatever. Just go ahead and fill a gift card with whatever money you think that you're going to spend for the day, whatever. You can keep reloading those cards. And that way you always have one to where you don't. You can also, and I know we're going to talk about this soon, but on mobile ordering, you can add a gift card to your account so that you can use that as a cashless payment. So yes, they're just suggesting it. Don't think that they won't take your cash. They will.
Disney will always take your cash, and they
take mine all the time, willingly. I'm just like, here.
As a legally operating business, I believe that they are bound by law to accept cash. I believe all
That's
businesses
right.
have to accept cash.
I've seen a lot of people, just complete strangers that I've helped with that, where they've seen the cashless payment up on the plexiglass between the cashier and themselves, and they've worried about it. And I've always told them, no, they'll take your money. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Don't worry. It's just suggested. It's a suggestion for people to think about that ahead of time and try and make that your first way of paying.
And it always is for me. I don't like carrying cash around. So those are some of the highlights and generalities. I know we've gotten quite a few details, and we're going to move into some certain topics and cover some points within those. We'll move into transportation. We have talked about that already on how they're spacing people apart and how they're cleaning it. But we are going to talk about getting to your park, because if a bus normally carries 60 people, 50?
Yeah.
Now they only carry 20 people or 30. It's going to take longer to get everybody where they need to go, even if the resorts are only at
Absolutely. So this is something Disney hasn't fixed yet. They did really well with how they're going to put people on a bus, but because they have not brought back all of their bus drivers, there is still a limited amount of buses. So when you're talking about large resorts like Old Key West, Saratoga, even Caribbean Beach, that kind of thing, where there are multiple bus stops. Sometimes when it comes to a park opening, most people try and get to the bus stop an hour early than the opening so that they can get there in time, and so on and so forth. Well, if your bus stop is 3 bus stops down, that bus will fill up at the first or second stop, and then they'll leave and go to the park. So you might be at a bus stop for over an hour. Forget the 20-minute wait. So you really need, again, utilize your Uber and Lyft, and don't count on Disney getting you as quickly to the parks as you think, especially in the mornings. Any of the opening times, you need to build at least 2 hours in travel instead of an hour or a half hour, because everybody's wanting to go at the same time. And because they're not running as many buses to take on the fact that they're lowering capacity on their buses, Disney's kind of fallen down on the job in this. And so people need to be prepared that you might not get on the first bus, or you might not even get on the second bus. So
how early, so we know that they're working on reduced hours at the parks. How early, how many hours or hour are the buses running before park openings?
An hour. An hour hour park opening and an hour and a half at close. So, as far as the monorail, if you're on the monorail resort loop, monorails only run an hour after parks close. So that express monorail only works for an hour. So if you end up dragging your feet and wanting to stay a little longer in Magic, you might only have the ferry boat as your option. So yeah, transportation's been a problem since they reopened. And it's all because of capacity on their boats and their monorails and their buses.
But the ferry boat is running, and so are the water taxis, right?
Yes. As far as Magic Kingdom goes, yes. I have not checked, but I do not think the Polynesian boat and the Grand Floridian boat is running. They are utilizing only the monorail and then a bus.
Oh goodness.
So the thing about the monorail resorts, so we're talking about the Contemporary, the Polynesian, and Grand Floridian. They stopped running that resort monorail early. So there is a resort monorail bus. They call it the monorail bus. And it's basically a bus that drives to all three resorts in a loop over and over and over once the monorail stops running.
Oh no.
So people who are booking the Grand Floridian or the Polynesian or Bay Lake Tower, all because you're on the monorail, you need to realize now your monorail is limited. It does not run as long as it used to. So keep that in your thoughts as far as how you're going to get around.
One thing that just popped into my head, I don't have it in my notes, but the water pageant, is the water pageant running?
No.
No water pageant right now.
No water pageant. Again, they don't want a bunch of people standing at the water's edge, pumping up and so forth. I know. You would think that resorts being at such a low capacity that would be a problem, and it would at least give us something at night to watch. But no, unfortunately, that might be the first thing that comes back around the Magic Kingdom.
Oh, that would be so nice. I mean, because the waterfront. I mean, there's plenty of coastline, for lack of a better word. People can spread out.
Yeah, you would think, especially like the Polynesian, that's a pretty long beach. Grand Floridian has a decent amount of beach. I guess it would be mostly Wilderness Lodge. The best place to watch it is right down there near Geyser Point. It's not quite as much, but again, the capacities are lower at these resorts. So, but yeah, that might be something as things are loosening up. That might be something that comes back as kind of like a test to see how many people watch it and do they keep their distance and so forth.
Okay, another set of boats that's running, you said, are the friendship boats inside Epcot that take you from Future World to Morocco and back, so that you don't have to walk all the way around, right? Those are running?
Right. So those are running. So yes, if you just need to get to Morocco or America and you just want to catch that boat, it is running. Obviously, they have the same things in place, only a certain amount of people at a time, but that boat is running. The boat at all of the Epcot resorts are not running. So yeah, you have to use the walkway. Do it the old-fashioned way.
And do you know if the boat to between, what is it? The boat between Hollywood and, what is it? And International Gateway, is that running? Do you know?
Right. No, not at all, because that is the resort. That is the Epcot resort boat, basically.
Oh, okay.
Hollywood, Swan and Dolphin, Yacht and Beach, Boardwalk, and then it hits Epcot, and then it goes back the same way. So those boats are not running.
Okay, so that's cleared up. And we've talked about the monorails, how they're separating everybody, and they've got the partitions in there. Skyliner's back up and running at reduced capacity. Right,
which is wonderful, because, we were really... when the Skyliner started, we were like, yeah, just wait until it's a hot summer day. They're going to put 10 people in here. That's crazy. And then, of course, they were closed, which never anybody saw coming that they would be closed all summer. And so now that they've reopened, and it's still extremely toasty down here, by the way, you can only have one party on, and I'm a party of one. So I get my own Skyliner to myself. So I got to say, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. So plenty of room. They're still allowing wheelchairs and scooters on, but they are not utilizing the loop where they take you off to give you time to get on.
Okay.
So they slow it down to a very small crawl. My friend Amy Gardner, who's on chat there, was able to slide her scooter right on as it moved. So it's doable, but they will always stop it if they need to. If someone needs more time, they're in a wheelchair or whatever, they will stop it. So keep that in mind. If you're on the Skyliner and it stops, you need to realize it's only because someone needed more time, and they're not utilizing that extra loop that they have at Epcot, Hollywood, and Caribbean Beach. There's an extra loop where they can take it off and they can load people on with it standing still. They're not utilizing that loop just due to cast members, not everybody being back and everything. So yeah, but yeah, the Skyliner's up and moving. You get a whole Skyliner to yourself. It's wonderful. Wonderful.
Wonderful. We've ridden those, and it is just really nice. I wasn't sure about it, but even in the heat, I've heard nothing but glowing reports. And it's so fast. You get to one end from one end to the other. Nothing's faster, and it's really a lot of fun.
Everything moves at the speed that they've been moving at, and it doesn't stop. You can get from Hollywood to Epcot with of course, the switch over at Caribbean Beach. You can get from Hollywood to Epcot in 15 to 20 minutes, which if you think about, if you went and picked up a bus, it would take you just as long if you think about how long you'd wait for the bus and you get on the bus and so forth. So it's a lovely way to travel.
You'd be lucky if you got on the bus within 15 minutes to get from.
Oh, yeah, especially now, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, at least the Skyliner is pretty much consistently moving, so you don't have to worry about that.
It is always moving, unless it stops for a scooter, of course. Then it starts right back up again. Magical Express is running, but it's a little bit different now.
It's not as different as you think, though. I've heard reports of people saying that the buses are a lot fuller than they expected. So wear your mask, but exciting. Yeah, the only change, of course, is that they're trying to keep the capacity as low as they can. But the biggest thing is they will not get your checked bags anymore.
That's
right. There is no more getting your beautiful yellow labels that you can get ahead of time and get excited about your trip. They are not doing that. So you have to do it the old-fashioned way. Go to baggage claim, get your luggage, take it down to Magical Express, and they will load everything on. The good news is you've got your luggage with you, and you will have it immediately at your hotel. So yeah, Magical Express is still running, which is a good thing for most people who fly.
And as usual, if your room is not ready yet and you get on the Magical Express and you get over to your hotel, you can just hand your bags off to Bell Services. They will stow them away, and when your room is ready, they will put them on over there.
Right. And they store them in a climate control room.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like they're sitting outside or anything like that. So if you have things that that might melt and so on and so forth, they will be just fine. Bell Services keeps them in a air conditioned room, and then as soon as you call from your room and say, "Hey, I want my luggage," they'll bring it up.
Yes, so don't worry. You can put your carry-on, in which I'm assuming everybody puts all their valuables, medication, and electronics instead of putting it in the belly of the aircraft, right? So you can hand that off to Bell Services, and it will not melt or be pilfered or otherwise mishandled. It will be in a very safe, secure location in climate-controlled comfort. So that's it for transportation, I think. Now, we talked about buying tickets and having hotel reservations. And we've talked about annual passes with the parks reservation system. But one thing that has been announced recently that I'm very sad about, and I hope changes real soon, is the ability to purchase new annual passes. Right now, if you have an annual pass, you can still renew it. But if you let it go or have already let it go, Disney is not selling new annual passes at this time. So
Right.
you've been warned.
Right, right. Well, my friend Amy desperately wants an annual pass. She's been here like 3 times now, and no, two times. She'll come back third time in October and then the fourth time in November. So you can imagine the amount of money she has spent on tickets that could have been part of an annual pass. I don't know Disney's reason for that. I really don't know what their reasoning is before. I'm sure they have one. They're super smart at all that. But I am really hoping that changes soon. I mean, that means more people coming down, more people interested in being at Disney, and of course, that would mean money in their pockets. So I'm hoping that, yeah, see, Becky's on here. She's saying she was really bummed about it. They were going to be, Becky and Kevin were going to be coming enough to where it made more sense that one of them got an annual pass and at least took advantage of the discounts and all that good stuff. So, you know, when you crunch the numbers, sometimes that's smarter, even if you're out of state. So the fact that Disney's not selling them right now, I think there's plenty of people who are like, you know, I just, so we'll see how it goes. Like you said, wait and see. It might change. Tomorrow they could come out and say, we're selling them now. So you never know.
And one thing that I just thought of that I did not think to look at, to research for this show is Tables in Wonderland, which is a discount card, which is only available for purchase to annual pass holders for an extra fee, which gets you certain discounts at certain restaurants. And I did not look at that to see if that had changed at all. If people that renewed their annual passes would be able to buy a new Tables in Wonderland card as soon as theirs expired or not. I do not know. Sorry.
Yeah, that I really can't answer to. I have a feeling it is yes, that you can still renew your Tables in Wonderland, but I do not know if you can purchase a brand new one. I don't know.
But tickets are available for sale, and resort rooms are available right now. And as of January 1st, this came out a few days ago, as of January 1st, you can purchase park hopper tickets again. Now, that does not guarantee that on January the 1st, we will be able to do park hopping, but that is when they reset the calendar that if you go, and a lot of these are date-based tickets now, they ask you when you plan on traveling, but starting January 1st, if you buy your ticket for next year, you can get the park hopper option on those tickets. Now, if you have your trip all planned out and they have not allowed the park hopping back yet, you will be able to get the difference refunded, I'm sure, but that is a hopeful sign as far as I'm concerned. I think that's a good thing.
Right. I mean, Disney is not going to nail down a specific date as to when they're going to, you know, lift all of this. They did say, or they hinted at the idea that this park reservation thing could keep going until next September. Everybody kind of groaned at that, which means if they're going to do the park reservation, then that means no park hopping. But that could change. I mean, you see how things are changing by the week with Disney on different things. So I think they just don't know. They don't want to get anybody's hopes up. They don't want to plan a date and then have to change it. So I think they're just waiting it out, seeing how things go. Obviously, the COVID numbers in Florida is a big thing as far as whether they decide to make some decisions. And, you know, travel is also big for the United States. And of course, Walt Disney World is very well known for international travel. So as things loosen up there as we go along, Disney might start realizing that they can bring some of that income back in. So it's just a day by day thing with Disney right now. So let's hope that we'll get our park hopper back next year. We just got to wait and see.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they would keep the park reservation system and allow you to make 2 park reservations for a single day when they begin to allow the park hopping again. That would still allow them to track visitors and plan ahead, but still.
Yeah, the only kicker with that is that some people won't use their second one. Like, you know, you're giving them a slot for 2 parks, and you can't count on that guest sticking to their plan, which means that someone else could have been in that other park. So, I mean, I think they're realizing that people are still spending money and they're just staying longer, and that people are getting used to not hopping. So I think it might be around for a while. I think that Disney's going to see it as, look, we're doing okay this way, and we can at least keep track of our numbers better. So let's just keep going with this. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to happen as soon as a lot of people are hoping. I think eventually, obviously, we'll get back to it for sure. But it might be a full year of this before we get Hopper back.
Well, fingers crossed for sooner rather than later.
I was looking at our chat, and Becky was saying that she had originally gotten tickets for this October with the Hopper before it became apparent that when they reopened, they would not be letting anybody park hop. And what she did is she turned the money that normally they would get back from the Hopper and turned it into another night stay at their resort. So Disney will work with you at the difference in a Hopper versus a regular ticket. And you could do that. You could get your money back. They really do work with you on people who've purchased ahead of time Hoppers. So.
And who wouldn't like to stay another day?
I know, right? I'm sure Becky and Kevin were like, okay.
Twist my arm. All right.
Yeah, twist my arm, right, Becky?
Unfortunately, right now, both water parks are closed. But again, just a few days ago, we got some good news in that one of the water parks, we don't know which one of them will be opening March the 7th of next year. It seems like a long way off, but it's starting to cool down. So, you know, less traffic at the water parks. This is the time of year that they do a lot of refurb over there at the water parks. And even though the resort pools are heated, you know, a lot of times during the winter, people don't want to get wet. They just want to stay dry and not have to deal with it. And you never know. So this is probably a smart financial move on Disney's part.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they crunched the numbers and they started looking at how their attendance at water parks drop off anyway. Like you said, they always close down one in the winter anyway. And I think when they put it up to how many lifeguards they'll have to bring back and payroll, and, you know, we only get this many in between, you know, November and March, that I think that they probably just crunched the numbers and decided that March was a good time to reopen. So, yeah, I think that's when people start going back to water parks in Florida. And yeah, I think it's a smart move. I was really hoping that they were going to open water parks like as soon as they open the parks in July. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. So it looks like March is our time period.
Well, we'll take what we can get.
That's right.
Disney Springs is still open. We can go there in the evenings. They are open until 10 p.m., right? And as you reminded me the other day, the amphicars are running, and I didn't even think about that. The amphicars are running. So that's something really cool to do, especially right around sunset, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So much fun. So it's right next to Boathouse. And they are so fun to look at. And of course, you still have a cast member driving the vehicle. Cool. But yeah, you can go out for a little boat ride, and it's a lot of fun.
Another fun thing to do right about sunset, and you and Amy did this just recently on your channel over on a live stream, is the Characters in Flight balloon ride right over about halfway in the halfway point at Disney Springs by what is it, Planet Hollywood?
Right in front of Planet Hollywood, pretty much, or just off to the side. Yep. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And the only time they are not flying is during inclement weather. But they fly during the day, obviously sunset, and into the evening time. Yep.
Wonderful. I'm sure it's really pretty at night with all the lights.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now, we've covered a bunch of points, and I have some lists here of things that are open, things that are closed, things that are available and unavailable, some few points that we might not have covered with dining, plus the Halloween stuff and Christmas stuff. And then that's pretty much it. But we've done most of the talking, and I'm going to read off a bunch of stuff here now that that people may have been wondering about whether or not it's open or closed. So something that I don't think was open right in the beginning in July, and we talked about why it wasn't and wondered and scratched our heads. But right now, Fantasia Gardens mini golf is open.
Yes.
But Winter Summerland is not, right?
Right. And that makes sense. It's staffing, so they figure they'll bring back one and see how attendance goes. So obviously, it was a smart move. I've seen plenty of people on their rest day or their pool resort day get excited about the fact that they can go over and do mini golf. So, I think it was a smart move by them. I wish they would have more evening hours, because I think now that parks close so early, it would be super smart to give people more than just Disney Springs to go check out in the evening. But I think, it's all about the numbers, and they'll figure it out. But super stoked that at least one of the miniature golfs is open.
They have the lights, right? They have lights for nighttime at the mini golf.
Yeah.
That's all from before. Now, also the full-fledged golf as well as foot golf. Those are open. Yes. So
definitely for the adults or teens. The golfers, most golf places across the country have stayed open during COVID, because it's not a super close type of game. So where there's a lot of crowds. So for Disney to continue to keep their golf open was super smart. Yep.
Wonderful. Yeah, I know a lot of people, they go as a family, and while mom and the kids go to the parks, dad takes a golf day or 4 or 5. Let's see what else. We've got the Fort Wilderness Archery Experience. That is open.
Right.
Have you ever done that?
I have not, but the campgrounds really started opening a lot of their activities back up just in the past month or so, and it's really brought in a lot more resort guests, because again, trying to find other things to do. So yes, not only do you have a list of things that are open just at the campground, it's really great.
It's not just, but most of it is the campground stuff. So we've got the archery experience, the horseback riding, the wilderness back trail adventure, as well as fishing excursions, the private fishing charters. And that's.
Well, and when you say horseback riding, they have trail rides, but they also have pony rides.
Oh.
So a younger child who obviously you don't want to put up on a full-grown horse, they do have pony rides that stay in the corral. So if you have smaller children, the pony rides are a dream come true for most kids. And so that is also at Fort Wilderness. So yeah, a lot of cool things going on. And don't forget, you can always go check out the Circle D's brand spanking new stables. They are one of a kind, high tech, beautiful stables. And if you go at the right time, you can catch a glimpse especially like in the evening, you can catch a glimpse of a lot of the horses that you see at Epcot cavalcades and Magic Kingdom cavalcades, Merida's horse. It just so many beautiful horses, and they're all stabled there at Circle D. And it's a cool place to just go take an hour and go check it out.
Now, the pony rides, that's where you do the pony rides? Is it Tri-Circle T?
Yeah, so that is actually, they have the pony rides, and where you do your horseback riding, that's at the front of Fort Wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas at the back over there by closer to the water near Hoop-de-Doo Review and all of that settlement area, that is where the brand new stables are built. So the stables are more for touring and seeing some of the history and things like that. But for the actual activities, that's closer to the front of Fort Wilderness, where the main bus stop is for all of the campground buses that go to the parks and so forth. That stable is right there. So that's where you would go for most of the activities that you listed on.
And I know that there are also, during regular times, Segway tours that run between Fort Wilderness and Wilderness Lodge, but I don't have any information on whether or not those are currently running.
Yeah, I mean, Amy and I were at Fort Wilderness back in August. I didn't see anything like that, or see anything like where they were like stored or lined up ready for a tour. So I'm hesitantly saying that they're not doing that, but I don't know. They might.
So I have some things here that are the private pool cabanas. And I want to go back to the resorts and say that the resorts that are open, if the resort is open, its pool is open, right?
Right. So when they first started opening the resorts back up, they were limiting which pools were open. Mm-hmm. Almost every resort had at least one pool open, and it wasn't always the big one that everybody wanted, such as at Yacht and Beach. The big pool was not open, and everybody was very upset. But as they've upped the limits on the resorts, and they brought back more cast members and lifeguards and so forth, they have opened up more pools. So like Wilderness Lodge, for instance, both their main pool and their DVC pool is open. But there are other DVC resorts where only one pool is open. So make sure you check with your resort to find out exactly what pools are open.
Well, for sure, the pool at the Grand Floridian is open because you can rent a private pool cabana there right now.
Nice.
And also, you can at the Contemporary, the Beach Club Villas, and Yacht Club. So you can get a private pool cabana at all of those resorts. Nice. And have your own little picnic area and shelter. I don't know how much they cost. I'm sure.
Yeah,
they're really worth it, though.
You also get your own person where you can order food from and so on, and they bring it to you. So, yeah, it's I have no idea what that is. I personally have never done it, but I'm sure it's a treat for some people who decide to do that for their vacation.
Also, the Oasis patios at the Polynesian Villas and Bungalows, those are open. I'm assuming that they are similar to the cabanas, but I do not know for sure. I don't know. That's a bit rich for my blood. And we talked about Savi. Savi's was only selling, Savi's was open to walk-ins until up through the 19th to buy the Legacy lightsaber hilts, but on the 20th began business as usual with the building of the custom lightsabers and the whole experience. And you have to make reservations for that. And you have one coming up.
I do. I have one coming up on Monday. I'm so excited. Yes. So a quick note about Savi's, they're going to go to 50% capacity. So normally when they would bring in 14 builders with a guest, now they're doing 7. So there's fewer people in there, which makes sense. It's an indoor area that's, fairly decent size, but so you are going to get the exact same experience as you did before the shutdown. It's just there's going to be, 7 builders in there instead of 14.
But each one can still bring a guest, right?
Everyone can still bring one guest. Yes.
And you are going to be streaming your build on Monday live from Hollywood Studios on your channel, Best Disney Adventures.
That's right. That's right. I believe my reservation's at like 1:45. We'll post everything ahead of time so everybody knows. But yes, and I'm lucky to know all that information mainly because my daughter, is a cast member and works mainly these days at Savi's. So we'll see. She was trying to get off that day actually to go in parks with us. But in case she is working, hopefully she can make it to where she is my helper on the build as the cast member. But no, it's going to be wonderful. I have built one right when they opened Galaxy's Edge. Were you with me for that build?
I was holding the camera.
Yes. So it's super exciting. You know exactly how amazing they make that whole experience. And so I'm excited to stream it this time and have a lot of fun building another lightsaber. And I am not going to say what color my lightsaber is going to be.
I'm not going to say either.
Well, you don't know. I haven't told you the actual color of the saber.
No, you haven't.
I haven't. Yeah.
No.
You know what I've chosen as far as parts, but yes, you do not know the color either. So yeah, so everybody can go ahead and start wondering and maybe guessing. But
place your bets now.
Place your bets now. Yeah.
Amy, are you going to run the pool? Amy can run the pool.
Oh Lord.
Okay. So the list of things that are closed much longer than the list of things that are open. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to get there. We're getting there. So
like we were talking, as far as we know, People Mover is the only ride not open.
Right.
So in my opinion, whether it be, restaurants that are closed or shows or whatever, I think the most important things that needed to be open are open.
Yes.
So you're about to list off these things and it's a big list, but if you look at it in the bigger scope, we really did get.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a bunch of little things. Now it's important to list them all here, but they're not going to ruin your trip. It's not a make or break deal. Not at all.
Right. Let's hear.
So we've got things that are currently not open. The water parks, both of them, but we already covered that. One of them is going, we don't know which one. One of them is going to reopen March the 7th. Playgrounds, all the playgrounds around Walt Disney World, currently not open. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party and Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, not happening as usual, but they have been making some allowances. We've talked about the things about Halloween, and they're going to be doing similar things for Christmas to make up for the lack of the hard ticket parties that we are accustomed to attending. Also, with the water parks being closed, the H2 Glow nights at Typhoon Lagoon are naturally not going to be happening. The ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, not open right now. They were hosting some sports events, but it's not open to the public. You can't just go over there. Surfing activities, which were at Typhoon Lagoon with the second largest wave pool in the world. They do the surf lessons there in the wave pool. Also not available at this time. The spas, the salons, and the Harmony Barbershop. Harmony Barbershop being the barbershop on Main Street in Magic Kingdom, currently not open. The Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, likewise, not open right now, both in Magic Kingdom and Disney Springs. Captain Hook's Pirate Crew, which is a fun little adventure for the kids over, I believe, at Yacht and Beach. They're not running right now. The Pirates.
I think it's actually run at the Contemporary.
Does it really? Okay.
Yep. They go out of the Contemporary. And they go see, they kind of have pirates running the ship and, and then they come back to the Contemporary after the fireworks, typically. Okay. And then they get to see Peter Pan.
Oh.
So it's a super cool thing, guys. Once things get back to normal, if you have kids who love pirates and pirate stuff, you need to check out that little nighttime tour. It's great.
Also, we have the character couture, which is kind of like a Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique for grown-ups.
Grown-ups, yeah.
Senses. Is it Senses, which is at Grand Floridian? Whichever, the one at Grand Floridian. Yeah.
Grand Floridian. Yeah, I don't know the name of it, but yeah, it's at the Grand. Yep.
And that is not operating right now. The Perfectly Princess Tea Party, currently unavailable. The Pirate Adventure Cruises, which is different from Captain Hook's Pirate Crew. Also, the Pirate and Pals Fireworks Voyage, unavailable at this time. We covered Sabi's. The Wonderland Tea Party at 1900 Park Fair, currently unavailable, as well as I believe all of the tours. Now, I will make a side note on the tours by saying that you can still get a private VIP tour with a plaid. You can do that because it's just with your group. But like the backstage tours, and I'm going to list them, these are all unavailable right now. We've got Backstage Magic, Behind the Seeds, Disney's Family Magic Tour, Disney's Keys to the Kingdom Tour, Disney's Magic Behind Our Steam Trains Tour, Taste of Magic Kingdom VIP Tour, the Undiscovered Future World, Ultimate Day of Thrills VIP Tour, Ultimate Disney Classics VIP Tour, Ultimate Nights of Adventure VIP Tour, Up Close with Rhinos, Walt Disney Marceline to Magic Kingdom Tour, World Showcase Destinations Discovered Tour, and both the morning and afternoon Wild Africa Trek tours. All of those are currently unavailable. There are also some dining events that we are not able to schedule right now. And they are the afternoon tea at the Garden View Tea Room, the cake decorating experience at Amarit's Patisserie, the Circle of Flavors, which is Harambe at night, the Dine with an Animal Specialist, the Dining with an Imagineer at Citricos, Dining with an Imagineer at Hollywood Brown Derby, the Disney Early Morning Magic at Fantasyland, the Epcot Forever Dining Package, the Fantasmic Dining Package, the Festival of the Lion King Signature Dining Package, the Highway in the Sky Dine Around, Jico Wine Tasting, the Rivers of Light Dining Package, the Savor the Savannah Evening Safari Experience, the Sense of Africa at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, the Signature Celebration at Cinderella's Royal Table, the Taste of Magic Kingdom VIP Park Tour, the Tiffin's Talks, the Victoria and Albert Chef's Table, the Wanyama Safari, the Wonderland Tea Party at 1900 Park Fair, mentioned that already, and Spectacular Sweet Spots. Unfortunately, we are also unavailable to schedule dessert parties, and those are the Fantasmic Dessert and VIP Viewing Experience, the Fairy Tale Fireworks, a sparkling dessert cruise, the Fireworks Dessert Party at Tomorrowland Terrace, the Fireworks Dessert Party with Plaza Garden Viewing, the Frozen Ever After Dessert Party, the Pirates and Pals Fireworks Voyage, the Rivers of Light Dessert Party, and the Star Wars Galactic Spectacular Dessert Party at Hollywood Studios. It's a lot of stuff, and I'm not done. There's only a short list left. These are nature experiences that are currently unavailable, and they are the Path Less Traveled Tour, the Behind the Seeds Tour, the Caring for Giants Tour, the Dine with an Animal Specialist Tour, the Epcot Seas Adventure Aqua Tour, the Epcot Seas Adventure Dive Quest, the Epcot Seas Adventure Dolphins in Depth, The Starlight Safari at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and the other things that I've already mentioned. Yeah, so there was some there were some things here that got listed twice for some reason.
Yeah.
So those are all the things that are not open.
Honestly, I mean, most of the things that you listed off, the tours and so forth, are extra things that normally people would tack on as a special occasion or whatever. And, you know, COVID really set a lot of people back with as far as finances go and as far as making their trip more budget friendly, maybe had to cut out some things. And those are the things that go first.
Yeah.
So I really don't think there's going to be a lot of people up in arms that those aren't, you know, obviously not open because of, you know, self-distancing and it just not making sense for Disney to do those right now. But I think also a lot of people probably wouldn't have booked those just due to the financial, you know, situation in most people's lives. So it's a long list, but it's a list that probably is going to stay until things really start calming down for everybody and we get back to normal.
I agree. It's not, and like I said before I started reading the list, it's not something that's going to make or break anybody's trip. This isn't, you know, that list of things that you can't do is not going to change anybody's mind if they want to come right now. But there's some other dining things that we need to cover. Seen a lot of people ask this. Disney dining plan, currently not available. Very sorry. Room service, currently not available. Disney hotels. Character dining. Many of the character dining are not available right now. There are 3. Is it 3? There's Garden Grill, Hollywood and Vine just reopened, and Topolino's Terrace. Those are the 3 character dining that we have available right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're really trying to figure out how to do it. I mean, now that they don't want to really do buffets and most of their character dining was buffets, I think that Disney's just trying to figure out the best way to go about it and then look at their logistics in each restaurant and figuring out how they can make it work. So,
yeah.
Yep.
But mobile order is being expanded. Yay! We love mobile order.
We really want to talk about mobile ordering. This would be a great time to talk about it.
Yes.
So you basically can't get into a quick service in the parks. You can't just walk in and get into a line anymore. They won't even let you in the door until you show your mobile order is ready. So I highly suggest anybody who plans on eating at a quick service in any of the parks to do your mobile order while you're walking there, or maybe even before you start walking there, and go ahead and create your order for your family and pay. And like I was saying earlier, you most likely have a credit card on file on your MDE. If not, do that before you even go to Disney. And then you can also add gift cards as a payment method on your mobile order. So basically you decide what payment you want to make. You go down your list and pick which one you want to use for your quick service. And yeah, it's fast, it's easy to do, and they're wanting you to do it for every quick service. The only time you can walk up to a window is at a snack type place. So Sleepy Hollow, you still walk up to order. Storybook ice cream, Storybook, I can't remember. Back in Storybook Treats, you still can walk up and order. But for the most part, you have to use mobile order. When you get there, say you're there, and then as soon as it shows that you can go up to whatever number window to get it, that's when they'll let you in the door. That's when you go get your food and can go sit down and eat.
And we like to use mobile order almost all the time, unless there is absolutely nobody in line. Then, okay, whatever. But mobile order, always the way to go. And now it's even available at some table service restaurants.
Right. Super excited. That just opened. happened in the past week.
Mhm.
And I believe I commented on your article because I was jonesing for some fried chicken from Primetime Cafe. I didn't want to make a reservation. I didn't want to go sit down and spend, an hour or more. And so I love the idea of just going and picking it up. I think that's an awesome, awesome idea.
I think it's excellent. I love it. So you don't have to, you're not using a bunch of time waiting to get seated, sitting at your table, all that sort of stuff. You can grab it if you're on your way out and go and eat it at your hotel room or whatever you want to do. Go eat it on a park bench.
Honestly, if you're doing Disney on a budget, it's a great way to do it also because then you're not tipping. You're not having to think that into your budget. You literally can just pay for whatever that entree is, pick it up, and go. So yes, and since we're talking about mobile ordering as far as MDE goes, you were talking about checking into your hotel using your app. You also can check into your restaurant. Yeah, so any sit-down restaurant, most of them, not all, have a way where you can go ahead and check in, so you don't have to go up to the hostess and say, "Hey, I'm here." So it keeps people from standing around up there and crowding. So yes, your My Disney Experience app is going to do a lot more on your Disney vacation.
I love that. Everybody should have that before they go on their vacation. Download it, mess around with it, learn it, live it, love it. There is a lot of cool stuff. I get notifications on mine almost every day of cool little trivia and behind the scenes and stuff of them Disney trying to stay in touch and keep the magic alive, even though a lot of us are stuck at home. It's a really neat to have all the time on your phone. You can look at wait times, even when you're not there. You can just kind of tool around on the map and see what's going on. You never know what you'll find.
Right. And make sure if you are going, and most Disney people know this, but is to make sure you link your reservations to your MDE for your hotel, link your tickets, link your, everything needs to be on that MDE, and everything needs to be linked, and all your people in your party need to be linked on your MDE. It makes it much easier for getting boarding passes at Rise of the Resistance. It's easier to recently the new thing on MDE also is there is a way that you can check to see if you can get a last minute reservation. So you can actually see if there is a walk up, and they actually give you kind of a time as to how long you'd wait if you were a walk up.
Cool.
So they are really trying hard to help people figure out if they can do a last minute sit down at a restaurant, or if they are taking walk-ups. So, yep, that My Disney Experience app is super helpful more than ever right now.
And as Beth pointed out to me just yesterday, that is also the best place, the most up-to-date place to find out which places for eating and drinking and snacking are currently available and open. Is right here in your MDE app. There's not a list on the website. It's all right here on your phone. You open up, you push the plus. You can either check dining availability, or that's for table service, or go to mobile order, which says order food, and that will give you a list of all your quick service.
Right. And of course, they'll know what park you're in, so they'll pull those up at the top of the list, and then they'll do everything else.
So they'll show you all of them.
They'll, with your GPS location on, it's basically they already know that you're in Hollywood Studios, so they're going to pull up all of the quick service or all the table service food at the beginning, and then you could go lower if maybe you're in a park and you want to do a resort dining later. That list is below, but they tend to put things that are really close to you at the top of the list.
That's good to know. Good to know. And a couple of things that were not on the list of things that were not available earlier, but they are unavailable, are the dinner shows, namely the Spirit of Aloha dinner show at the Polynesian and the Hoop-Dee-Doo Review over at Fort Wilderness.
Right.
Both of those very close to my heart, but currently we cannot have them.
Right. Well, it's partially obviously capacity and is it worth it? Plus, most of those are equity performers who obviously carry a little bit bigger of a paycheck. So this goes back to Disney just trying to crunch the numbers. Is it worth bringing in 50% capacity of people, and will that pay for all of their performers, and is it worth it? So I have a feeling that we might not see those kind of shows opening back up until capacity raises to where it makes more sense.
Well, let's hope it happens sooner than later, just like all the other stuff. A side note about table service, you may not be handed an actual menu when you go sit down at your table service. You may be instructed to scan a QR code with your phone, and that will pull up a menu on your mobile device screen. So just be aware of that. That happens. That's it. That's happening at most of the restaurants back home where I am at. I'm sure it's happening everywhere. Everybody's probably experienced it at least once already. It's the same thing. Just now, Disney is doing it too.
Right. Oh, it's super easy. I mean, the fact is we all have phones. We all have smartphones now. Or if someone doesn't have a smartphone, somebody in their party most likely does. So the idea that you basically just open your camera up as if you're going to take a picture and you focus in on the QR code, immediately a website link will pop up on the screen. You click it, boom, there's your menu. You decide, so it's so much smarter, and I don't see this going away. I think this is here for good. And, maybe it'll save a few trees too, that you don't need the sticky menus and how many people have touched it. You've got your phone, you can decide. And super smart. Disney obviously picked up on that pretty quick. And now I have yet to be at a Disney restaurant that doesn't do it. So, yep, it's great.
Last thing on the dining section, you were on your stream earlier and you got a popcorn bucket refill. Those were not open in the very beginning, but now they are. Are all of the popcorn refill locations open now?
Yeah, as far as I can tell, all of them are open. But I tell you what, CJ, you are going to find yourself not eating popcorn so much in a park. Because guess what?
You got to sit down.
You got to stop. You got to stand aside. You got to, be stationary while eating. So I have discovered only picking it up on the way out.
Oh.
I fill up my refill on the way out of a park. And that way I have it to snack on in the hotel room or whatever. And that's pretty much the only time I get it. Now, when you do a refill, you show them your refill thing, but they will just give you a regular cardboard container full, and then you take it and you can pour it into whatever. So you're paying $2 pretty much for whatever they can fit in that cardboard container, which is, by the way, a little less than the buckets, but it's still a good deal.
It is a good deal. It is the best food deal in the parks, hands down. No doubt about it. How about the egg roll cart?
Egg roll cart is not open. It's not open. Yeah. And I think this goes back to Disney realizing that eat and go food is just not happening these days because they're making people stop and eat it. So I think we're not going to see that back for a while, unfortunately. I would gladly go take those egg rolls and go find some shade and sit down and eat them. They were delicious. But I think right now they're just, they're kind of looking at how, they're not selling as much popcorn. They're not selling as much ice cream. People just aren't eating those kind of things because they have to stop and they have to, so yeah, no egg rolls for now.
That was going to be my next question. What about the ice cream carts?
Yeah, all the ice cream carts are open in most places. They've even stuck one at certain times of the day right outside of Casey's because Casey's is not open right now. They shove a ice cream and drink cart right there on the corner of the opening of Casey's. So they're definitely getting out there and trying to. So you can still get your Mickey ice creams and Mickey ice cream sandwiches. They are still available everywhere. I just don't think they're selling as many right now.
I'm sure they're not. Yeah, nobody wants to have to pull over to eat those. That's a eat on the way to the next ride type of deal.
Well, yeah, and with not having as much time in a park, you start to realize that, do I want to be eating ice cream for 15 minutes on the side, or do I want to be getting to the next ride?
Yeah.
So yeah, decisions you have to make.
Yeah, and the Golden Oak Outpost and the what is it, the corn dog place by Country Bears, are they both open?
Outpost is not open. I believe the Onward Ho or whatever it is across from Pecos Bills, I believe that is now open. I think. I'm not positive on that one. I didn't pay any attention when I walked by it the other day or today. But I think I remember reading something about that one is now open because it was carrying a snack or some type of food that's normally found somewhere else. So that's another thing you're going to find, like the Cheshire Cattail. The Cheshire Cafe is not open, but you can get the Cheshire Cattail at Anti-Gravity's in Tomorrowland. So they are trying to bring back some of the favorites of places that are closed. They're bringing the food elsewhere. So if you have a specific food that you love and you're coming to Disney, find out if it's still available. It just might not be in the place you think it is.
That's good news. That's one of my favorite snacks is that cattail. So good.
Yeah.
Holiday stuff. Halloween started last week on September 15th. All the pumpkins went up, the wreaths, the all of that kind of stuff. And that runs from September 15th through October 31st. And the cool thing about that is that even though we do not have a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, you were out there today and you saw some pretty cool costumes. The rules have changed.
That's right. That's right. And on paper, it sounds amazing, right? We're not having to buy a hard ticket event to be able to dress up as grown-ups. You know, it used to be just obviously the kids, but now they're allowing grown-ups to wear all kinds of outfits, obviously not face masks, but everything else is up for grabs. The downfall is you're going to be wearing it in the heat of the day. You know, when we got to dress up for Halloween parties, it was nighttime by the time that all started. It was cooler weather in Florida at night. And so keep in mind, anybody who's coming and thinking, I'm going to dress up, I can't wait. You need to tweak your costume with the idea that it could possibly be 90 degrees and sunny. So, yes, as amazing and wonderful it is that we're getting that kind of thing, that you need to remember what the heat is like in the hottest part of the day. So,
yeah, that's a lot to be wearing, all the layers and all of that stuff. And you got to keep in mind, even if you are wearing a costume, you still have to wear the proscribed face covering for COVID safety.
Well, and I tell you what, today I really saw some great costumes and some bounding, and they were so cool at having masks that totally went with the costumes, that matched or whatever. It was so neat. So people are starting to get creative even with their masks when it comes to dressing up for Halloween.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to coordinating our masks when I come down for Dapper Day, and we are all of our outfits coordinated with our Dapper masks as well.
Yeah. So well, I do have a Halloween costume that I will be wearing to Magic Kingdom. I'm holding out till October. I'm a classic. October is my Halloween month person. So, and I'm hoping it'll be cooler. So I'm kind of waiting for that. We'll see. But it's going to be my Haunted Mansion apron. But I showed you pictures. I got a Haunted Mansion mask that looked just like the maid outfit. It's even got a little bit of lace and then it's got the striped green and black. It looks so cute, and it says Ghost Host on the side. I cannot wait. It matches my apron perfectly, and it's going to be my Halloween costume that I'm going to wear in October. I can't wait. And that's about as close as to dressing up as I'm going to get.
I think that's plenty close. I think you nailed it. Nailed it. So we have the Cadaver Dance out for Halloween now. We also have Villains Cavalcades on select nights at Magic Kingdom. I don't know what those select nights are. That's all the website says.
Well,
but we'll just have to tune in.
That's a little tongue in cheek when they say nights.
yeah, because it's not at night. It's not at night. It doesn't get to be nighttime until November.
It should be villains at dusk.
Right. Yeah, they should. They should.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of
really hoping I catch one of those cavalcades. I have a feeling it's not going to be till October that we really see them, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping to catch it. I'm normally there until close at Magic Kingdom, so I'm hoping, because we just here at Disney World, we just don't get enough villain stuff. So I'm super stoked when they came out that there was going to be a special cavalcade on occasion.
Yeah, and we've already got the character cavalcades. They're coming out in their Halloween costumes already, right?
Right. So like I said, there are 2 Halloween cavalcades. One is a Jack Skellington one where you see Sally, Jack, and Oogie Boogie. And then the other one is Mickey and the Fab Five, all in their Halloween costumes. They look so cute. And they got Boo to You playing. It's wonderful. So, yes, awesome. Get you in the Halloween spirit for sure.
So we've got all the Halloween decor is up. We've got the wreaths and the lights and the garlands and all of that sort of thing. Also, Halloween merch is out, and it's as good as it's ever been.
Oh, yeah.
The ears.
Awesome that I think that the regular public is getting a lot more Disney or Halloween merch than we've ever gotten. Normally, you've had to go to a party to get some of this stuff. So they are really trying hard to give you some special stuff that you would normally need for the hard ticket event.
A lot of it is going straight to Shop Disney, and also some of it's going to Shop Disney before it's even seen in the parks.
Right? Yeah, most definitely. And that's usually the stuff that sells out super quick.
Yes. And those new queues and the merch pass and all that. That's over my head. I'm not going to do that. We've got also the magic shots, like you mentioned. The Halloween magic shots are out, and they are scattered throughout the park. Be sure and ask your PhotoPass photographer which magic shots they have for you, because there are a lot.
Absolutely. Yep.
Then there's the Halloween food and drink and snacks and all kinds of stuff. That's through all 4 parks. Everybody has something different everywhere. It won't all be the same stuff everywhere. And in just 3 days, on September 25th, Minnie's Halloween Dine at Hollywood and Vine.
Nice.
All of the characters will be in their Halloween costumes, and you can go and eat with them, and they will visit with you, and you can get your pictures and all that stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah, for people who've been waiting for some more character meals to open up, that one's going to be a big one.
Christmas time. Christmas time starts November the 6th and runs through December the 31st. That's when Magic Kingdom will extend its hours. Hours is a misnomer. It extends 1 hour, but it's going to make all the difference in the world. It's really going to help. It's going to help.
We'll take what we can get.
Absolutely. And it's going to be important for Magic Kingdom for one very special reason. And they are not putting up the dream lights this year. I know. They're not doing it, but they are having special projections as soon as it's dark enough to see them well. Special projections on the castle. And they are extending the hours. I believe they are going to go from 6 p.m. They're going to, starting November the 6th, they're going to go to 7 p.m. closing time so that you can enjoy all the Christmas decorations in the evening when they're seen the best.
Right. And we also got to remember, by November, it will be getting dark earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it will by 7 you really will be able to see the beautiful lights and the projections and so on. So yeah, no, I think it was smart, and I think it was. I know this is not a popular opinion, but I think not putting the lights up on the castle this year was a smart move.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a huge undertaking. They just finished painting. And with all of the cutbacks and everything, they're really trying to tighten the budget. This was the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are really bummed about it, but I think they're going to enjoy it. What's really funny is they first announced the projections, and then I think they realized they had to bump the hours, because that's the first thing I thought of. I'm like, they're going to put projections up at like barely dark, and we're supposed to be happy with that? And what do you know, like a week later or a week and a half later, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna stay open an hour later.
It took them a while, didn't it? It took them a while to figure it out.
You think? So yeah, so super excited to see Christmas. That's actually my favorite time of year at Disney. I know so many people love Halloween, and it is wonderful, but Christmas is my favorite time of year. The one thing that I am bummed about, and I don't know if you were going to talk about, was they have not announced the Tower of Terror projections.
They haven't.
Or doing anything like that. So I forgot what they called that. The sunset season. And I love that. And I was really wanting Amy to see that in November. You have seen it, correct?
Yes.
You've seen it, yes. But just snow on Sunset and the projections. And so I'm hoping that maybe they'll consider doing the same at Hollywood Studios. But because, I mean, it's an easy thing to do. They're projections, they already have it done. So I'm hoping that maybe we'll get that. Crossing fingers that might be something they add, especially if they see attendance going up and more people booking for the Christmas season. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
And Sunset Season's Greetings doesn't draw like a huge crowd.
No, we have an entire street available, and if your capacity is still not going to be huge, then I don't see why there would be a problem. But no bigger problem than at Magic Kingdom. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I also haven't heard any word on Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam at Hollywood Studios either.
Well, and that goes back to it being an event that draws a crowd, and so whereas the Sunshine Seasons runs for several hours, and obviously people come and go. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see Jingle Bell, Jingle Bam this year for Christmas, unfortunately. I mean, that would mean that actual firework events would also be happening elsewhere. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just 1 year. We've got to remember it's one. It's one Halloween.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have the one at Epcot. They're testing those tomorrow night, so hopefully they're going to do something with that. But for holidays, there will be holiday themed cavalcades throughout the parks.
Right. So just like the Halloween at Magic, we're going to get to see some Christmas stuff. I'm actually looking forward to see the cavalcades that go around World Showcase right now.
Yes.
To see those Christmassy. That would be really cool.
I hope we can see some carriages with lights and all kinds of other, maybe some Snoke machines, mobile Snoke machines on the back of the.
Being the later to open, later to close, we might get more of a chance of enjoying evening Christmas decorations. So we'll be decorating all of World Showcase for their international holiday event. So
yeah, and it's it's all the Christmas decorations are so much prettier at night. That's going to be important.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have the holiday merch. We're gonna have the holiday magic shots. We're going to have special holiday food and drink, snacks and cupcakes and all these other
things. As well as the Halloween snacks that they're putting out. I can't wait for Christmas. I think they're going to do just as well, and there's going to be so much of it. I mean, I've already started making a list of things that I haven't tried yet for Halloween, so I can only imagine what Christmas is going to bring as far as the holidays at Disney.
Yeah, and all the parks will be decorated, as well as the resorts. Now, the resorts are going to be a little bit different during the holiday season this year. The resorts will decorate. All of the icon trees will be going up. All of the smaller trees are going to be going up. There's going to be one difference, and I know I'm going to be missing it, but it will be okay. It's just 1 year. It's just temporary, like Becky said. We will not be getting gingerbread displays in the resorts this year. Now, they have not mentioned whether or not they're going to be selling gingerbread. I hope they still are. That's a huge deal. But we will not be seeing the gingerbread house or the gingerbread panels at Contemporary or any of those other things at the resort.
Well, if you think about it, we really just had it at Grand Floridian for most of the time. And it wasn't last year that they actually expanded it to Contemporary and Wilderness Lodge. So we really only had one Christmas season where gingerbread was like a big thing. Other than that, it was always just go to Grand Floridian, see the house, buy some gingerbread, and that was it. So I think they're going to go full tilt with it in the future Christmases, at Disney. So I think this is just, like I said, it's a temporary thing. It's a bump in the road. And the fact that I'm sorry, but as long as the trees are going up, I'm okay with that.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of trees, the Disney Springs Christmas Tree Trail is also going up again this year, but it's going to be a little bit different. Instead of being all on that one end, as it has been in the past, the tree trail is going to be scattered all the way throughout all of Disney Springs.
Smart. Smart of Disney to do that. It was so crowded, especially on weekend nights.
Yeah.
It was packed. So the idea that them spreading it out throughout Disney Springs was a very smart call by them. And we still get to see it. We'll still get to see the unique trees from the different movies and so forth and rides. It's gonna be beautiful, and it gets people walking more of Disney Springs at Christmas, whereas normally they would have probably stayed down there or whatever. So I think it's super smart. Yep.
Especially with Disney Springs being the latest thing open every night, everybody's going to gravitate over there in the evenings anyway. And that may be why they have announced that Disney will be having Disney snow at Disney Springs, scattered throughout Disney Springs this year, not just at the Tree Trail, but at Town Center, the Landing, as well as the West Side. Yay!
Yeah, that's nice. That's really bringing the Christmas spirit, since we're not getting the snow at the parties on Magic Kingdom. We're not going to be getting that. At least that at Disney Springs you will get the Disney snow and have a little taste of that. So yes, all hope is not lost. You can at least go there.
It's not lost at all. At Epcot, it'll be showing up a little bit late. The Epcot Festival of the Holidays does not begin until November 27th, but that's okay. It's still happening. It's going to have all the food.
And that's how typically it is. Right after Thanksgiving is usually when Epcot goes into full tilt Christmas. So for the holidays. So that personally, I don't think that's changed much at all. The only thing that I think may change, and you might have some information on that, is the fact that we might not have all the Santas, that he might just be popping up in cavalcades and things like that. But I'm not sure how World Showcase is going to handle the country.
I don't have that information yet. I do not.
And they might be waiting. They might be, waiting to see if they can do that or not. But yeah, because I know that they're saying that Santa will do pop-ups in the parks, whereas normally he's at the parks, so they're doing pop-up. So I'm thinking maybe he'll be in a cavalcade or something like that, but won't be where you could actually go up and sit on his lap, obviously. Right. So it'll be interesting to see how Epcot handles the international holidays as far as special things like that.
And on November the 27th, for the Festival of the Holidays, Epcot's hours will be changing from their regular, 11 to 7. They will be moving from noon till 8 p.m. for the duration of Festival of the Holidays. That's going to be running from November 27th through
Now, are they opening up later? Are they opening up at like noon or something like that?
Yeah.
Or
It's noon until 8 p.m.
Okay, which is right now it's at 11
Right.
that it's open. So noon is when it'll be. But that's awesome because I'm sorry, Epcot at night is so much better than Epcot.
Oh yeah, totally.
And the fact that they're gonna, have the holiday festival going, it makes sense that that they stay open later. So yeah.
In addition, World Showplace will now serve as the festival hub with festive foods and drinks. And that is where the joyful gospel celebration will take place up on that stage. That is an excellent show. I love that.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
They always have lots of great energy. They're a wonderful group. And that is it for Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah.
Now, general travel tips. Travel tips. Always double check all details regarding your travel plans, especially regarding COVID-specific modifications that apply to every step of your trip, like airlines, hotels, parks, restaurants, pools, rental cars, etc., as these may be changing or updated at any time.
Right. Things are always changing. So yeah, keep on top of it if you're about to travel, for sure.
Always check with your local, state and local governments and all that sort of thing. But I have done some of that for you guys here. I have some of the very latest travel advisories, restrictions, and whatnot. Thankfully, as of just a few days ago, they are much less than they were because Florida has now lifted all requirements for quarantine and lifted all travel restrictions and bans for people arriving from out of state and out of country. Woohoo! Check with your local and state government for all your quarantine requirements upon your return from traveling, because they may be different.
Right.
I'm not going to go into all that, but I got a few of them here. You may be required to self-quarantine after arriving back at your home after traveling to Disney or anywhere out of your state. Ohio, Maryland, and Kentucky have recently lifted self-quarantine orders for people entering their states from Florida. And New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maine, Massachusetts, New Mexico, Alaska, and Hawaii, as well as Washington, D.C., still have quarantine orders in place for travelers returning from Florida entering their provinces. Pennsylvania is currently under a non-mandatory, highly recommended suggestion for its residents to stay home for 14 days after going out of state for any type of travel. Land-based travel to and from Canada is still restricted to essential personnel only. Canadians can travel to the U.S. by air as long as they have not visited Brazil, China, Iran, Ireland, the United Kingdom, or 26 European countries in the Schengen area within the last 14 days. And there is no isolation period for Canadians traveling to Florida, but Canadian residents must self-isolate for 14 days after they go home. The UK and Europe are still not able to travel to the US as of this show today. So sorry. Hope you can come visit us soon.
Yeah. I know they're biting at the bit to get back to Disney. So I'm sure they're waiting anxiously for all that to get lifted.
Especially our friends in the UK. We miss you. It'll all still be here. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be here. Don't worry. It'll be just that much better when you do come back. Now, for everybody's safety, by entering Walt Disney World Resort, you are confirming that you and all persons in your party are not experiencing any of the following symptoms of COVID-19 identified by the CDC, including fever, chills, cough, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headaches, new loss of taste or smell, sore throat, congestion, runny nose, nausea, vomiting, or diarrhea, or that you have not been in contact with someone who has confirmed or suspected COVID-19 symptoms without completing a 14-day quarantine. You are also confirming that you are not under any self-quarantine orders. Guests who cannot confirm all of the above criteria must not enter Walt Disney World. By entering Walt Disney World, you acknowledge that you understand and will abide by the above health and safety requirements, including and especially the wearing of a Disney-approved face covering at all times, except for when seated at either a relaxation station or seated to eat and drink. You must stop and sit down to eat or drink anything while you are inside the parks at this time, as we mentioned earlier.
What?
Most of the information covered tonight was collected from the Walt Disney World website, as well as firsthand accounts from our own Beth Brooks right here from Beth's Disney Adventures.
Yay! I'm wondering if anybody in the comments had any questions. We covered a lot in this amount of time. So anybody like the Stacy's who are going to be coming in October, or so Amy will be back in October and then November. But is there anybody in comments that have any questions for CJ and I about Disney during this time period where we're so many rules and things that have changed temporarily? See if we have any questions before we say goodbye.
While we wait on questions, because I know there's a lag in Facebook, I will give you the updated list of hotel resorts, because they're not all Disney hotel resorts are open right now. So
the lists that are open, or
that are open, yes.
Okay.
These are currently open as of right now and accepting new reservations. We've got Bay Lake Tower at the Contemporary, Boulder Ridge Villas at Wilderness Lodge, Copper Creek Villas and Cabins at Wilderness Lodge, Animal Kingdom Village, Kidani Village, Beach Club Villas, Boardwalk Villas, Caribbean Beach Resort, the Contemporary Resort, Fort Wilderness Resort and Campground, Old Key West, the Polynesian Villas and Bungalows only, not the Polynesian itself. The Poly is being refurbished. Huge overhaul in this Grand Ceremonial House. Not expected to open again until at least next July. Continuing on, Pop Century is open. The Riviera Resort is open. Saratoga Springs Yacht Club, and the villas at the Grand Floridian. Now, coming up, as of yesterday, September 21st, the Grand Floridian is now open to guests and reservations. The bubble is no longer in effect, and you can go stay at the Grand now. October the 14th is Coronado Springs. You can make reservations for Coronado Springs now, but you cannot check in until October the 14th. Art of Animation is November 1st, and the Polynesian is just slated for summer of next year. We do not know what the date is on that.
There we go.
Do we have
a lot of resorts, if you think about it, a lot of resorts are open.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are looking for more of the values and the moderates to open. Coronado opening would be awesome. I think a lot of people are waiting for Port Orleans to finally announce a date. That is a favorite for a lot of people who like the moderates. So, who knows? In another 4 weeks, there could be more announcements for more resorts. So awesome. Well, everybody's saying that everything's been covered and that they have no questions at all. So awesome. It has been so much fun, CJ. I think we covered so much.
I hope we did. I hope we got it all. And if we didn't, and you're not watching this live, if you're watching this after we are finishing this program, please post your questions or comments down below. I will include in the description of this video a link to Beth's YouTube channel, as well as the Disney website where I got all of this golden information.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on. It's been so much fun. You and I are Disney buddies. We've done Disney many times. I can't wait for November and Dapper Day weekend that we're doing together again and be able to hang out in parks again. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm looking forward to it, and I sure appreciate you giving your perspective and coming on here tonight. You've been in the parks all day long, and I appreciate you staying up so late to come and do this with me.
No problem. Anything for you.
Oh. Well, thanks, guys, for watching. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, everybody who watches later. Please be sure to subscribe to both of our channels and click that notification bell so that you get all of the updates for when either one of us has a new video coming out.
Awesome.
And be sure and give us a thumbs up.
That's right.
Thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate it. I'm CJ. This is Beth, and we thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.